this evening on the road. Kylene Filimawa will do the honors and get us underway here in Tallahassee. Week 7 in the ACC. Misconnection out of the gates for the Deeks, and FSU is on the board first.
I like the fact that they're running through their middles early. They tried to run Tina Grikovic on the gap set, but just a little too low of a set. She wasn't able to swing.
FSU, a team that can provide a ton of service pressure. It'll be interesting to see how the Demon Deacons handle the heat by the Seminoles. Audrey Koenig can provide plenty of heat as well, can number 4 in white. That time, though, went with the roll off speed.
And that's why that was a smart decision. Audrey Koenig can rip these really solid, powerful fastballs to the deep corners. She also can take some off of it, and it's advantageous to her.
Pass is tight, and that is going to be an illegal back row attack on Ryan Baker, number 17 in black. This time Baker back setting, and Layla Ricks misfires over the back.
Layla Ricks has high vertical, and she's very physical, but right there she waited a little too long to swing. I would have liked to see her cut it off a little quicker and get a nice quick snap on the ball.
2 errors on the first 3 swings in this match for Wake Forest. FSU has won the first 4 points straight out of the gates, Madison.
And it's because of the aggression from the service line. They're getting Wake Forest in tricky situations on serve receive, causing the overpass. And then Wake Forest, slow start for them. They've made a couple of errors. They don't really look in a rhythm offensively. There's been some setter-hitter misconnections there. Just little things that I expect them to do now.
Here's Randy Smart in her 6th season as Wake Forest head coach. Previously was the interim head coach, and before that, an assistant in Winston-Salem. Prior to her D1 stop with the Demon Deacons, was the head coach at Cal State LA, where Yane Henke went for Florida State here just a couple of years ago. So a D2 into D1 head coaching job for Coach Smart, and she's done a great job getting the Deeks on the map in the ACC and national.
And might I add, absolutely delightful. Every single time we talk to her, it's an absolute pleasure. And you can tell that translates to her players and her team as well. They really respect her.
And locked in early, as you can tell. As we get set to get back underway, Florida State winning the first 4 points. Kylene Filimawa will send it in. She started off the match serving. She still serves. Great effort there defensively by Taylor Head. Audrey Koenig will look for the kill in transition off the touch, and she is lobbying to her head coach, Chris Poole, that Wake Forest did touch that ball. We'll see if he challenges.
And he will, and I think that was a smart call. I saw her grab some fingertips. Audrey Koenig likes to hit high off the hands often.
The call on the court was no touch. Florida State is challenging, there is a touch.
And that is the voice of our R2 this afternoon, Chad Zimmerman, who will now head to the monitor and check all of our fantastic camera angles around Tully Gym to confirm whether or not the original call on the floor was correct or whether Chris Poole is correct in challenging.
I definitely see some fingertips bent back a little bit. That's Layla Ricks. And you can see how high she gets up. She's got such a solid press, uses all of her vertical every single time she goes up to block. But right there, it did not pay in her favor. I think it'll come back reversed.
Worth mentioning that each team receives 2 challenges for the match. If you are correct and the original call on the floor is overturned, you get your challenge back. If the call is upheld, whether it be confirmed or that it just simply stands, you lose your challenge. And of course, you lose the point as you were going to already. And if you go to a 5th set and you've dropped a challenge along the way, you do get it back in the 5th. Madison, I know you're suspecting that Audrey Koenig, as she was suspecting, grabbed the hands of Layla Ricks. And if that does end up being the call here, we don't have a call yet. You have to imagine for Wake Forest, even if this does not go their way, the chance to discuss things for an extra 30 seconds is going to be beneficial.
Exactly. The challenge poses two advantages. Yes, maybe if you're correct, you get your challenge back and you get the point, but also it allows for a timeout. It allows for the coach to have a chance to talk to her team, maybe stop the momentum of the opposing team. So really there are multiple benefits for challenging.
Again, the call on the floor was that there was no touch on the block. So as it's originally in the scorebook, Audrey Koenig is being tacked with an attack error.
After review, there was a touch. Point Florida State. They will retain their challenge.
And there's Chad Zimmerman once again letting us know that the call will be overturned on the floor. Audrey Koenig, Chris Poole, and Madison Fitzpatrick were all right. Perfect hat trick, 3 for 3. And we will resume the action with a 2-point swing now in favor of the Seminoles. It is now a 5-0 start right out of the rip for the Noles. And of course, that also means 2 kills in the first 5 points of the match for Audrey Koenig. Strong service rotation, to say the least, for Kylene Filamawa, who still stays back to serve for FSU. Unbothered by the timeout, unbothered maybe by the challenge. We'll see here for the sophomore from Bothell, Washington. Baker saves it with one hand. Koenig off hands. Out of the middle, off the edge of the block and down. That's a kill for Tina Grikovic, number 14 in black.
Really solid block touch also by Wake Forest, and that's something that Coach Randy Smart emphasized to us. When they get these block touches, they need to be able to capitalize off of it, set it up and get the kill.
And Madison, the first 2 swings for Wake Forest have come out of the middle. That is something that Coach Smart told us to expect to see out of her team here tonight.
And especially since they're starting with running the 5-1, you need production out of your middles in front of the setter and behind the setter, so look for them to incorporate that as well.
So after a couple of points for Wake Forest, the service error by Sahara Maruska donates the point right back to FSU, the lead back to 4. And Florida State also a team that likes to open things up through the middle attack. Kelsey Perry in the front row for FSU, currently number 3 in white. And Ricks is turned back by Taylor Head. We mentioned the size of Taylor Head, but she does have a vertical, and she does time the block exceptionally well.
And she's really disciplined and experienced. As a grad student, she's been up there on the left pin blocking for a long time. She uses all that experience every time.
Good luck blocking that. What a nice looking swing for Tina Grikovic.
And Coach Randy Smart said we need more offense out of her, and we're working on getting the ball to her from 8 or 10 feet off the net. I'd say that set came about 5 feet off the net, but still really well done by her.
She hails from Belgrade, Serbia, and transferred in from Rutgers this season. Off the right side, Audrey Koenig. Florida State has moved her around. Essentially, Madison, they've got a whole bunch of left pins, and you've got to figure out somewhere to put them. So some of them rotate to the right, and we've seen Koenig do it to relatively good efficiency.
And it helps that these outsides are so athletic and versatile. Audrey Koenig is hitting 44%. That's what Coach Chris Poole told us from the right side. So incredible efficiency for not being her normal spot.
Koenig creeping up on 300 kills on the season, 293 in fact, leading FSU as a team. And speaking of the Seminoles attack, they continue to roll here. Now part of their lead has been by virtue of some miscues by the Demon Deacons, but when they have swung, they have been efficient. 3 kills on 5 swings. Crawford off speed over the block. Back set to Crawford, picked up by Filamawa. And right there to put it down out of the middle is Corey Lewis, number 8 in white.
I will say the first ball contact, the ball control on Florida State's side of the net is really strong. Kylene Filamawa just swallowed up that dig. Nice 3-pass to the setter. You get a 3-pass like that, Corey Lewis off the net, she gets on it quick, set her because she's so efficient.
the senior from Tallahassee, Florida, who's on pace to have the highest career hitting percentage in the history of Florida State's program, is on the board, and so too, back the other way, is Dior Charles.
Dior Charles is a threat offensively and defensively, and I like that Wake Forest is running through those middles early and often, so to open up their pins at Paige Crawford and Sahara Maruska later on.
10 or more kills in 3 of the last 4 matches for Charles. She's one of the best blockers in the ACC and finding another gear on offense as well. Keep an eye on number 3. And keep an eye on that swing for Paige Crawford. She has paced Wake Forest year in, year out offensively and continues to do so here in 2024.
And something that's important to note, when you watch Paige Crawford swing, she's at her best. She keeps the ball in front of her and she rises up to it. She doesn't love a tempo set. She likes for there to be some heat.
That time the block was ready for Taylor Head. I think on paper a lot of teams see that matchup and see the 5'10" on the outside, and that's what they hope will happen. To Taylor Head's credit, it doesn't happen as often as you might think, but it does here.
You're right, she's very crafty. That's a rare sight right there. She wasn't able to tool the block or swing high off the hand.
Service error by Becca Bello, who checks in. And so Wake Forest, who started this match off in a 5-1, has already made the move to a 6-2.
Yep, they already have, and that's something that Coach Randy Smart said she wanted to do. I don't know if she wanted to do it so early, but they have made that switch.
And a serve by the Seminoles. They've doubled up the Deeks. And it's Audrey Koenig who can do a little bit of everything, including this. Overpass, Crawford handles it. Head to the back corner.
That was essentially a free ball, and what you do when you get a free ball, you capitalize and you make the opposing team pay. Taylor Head making the opposing team pay with that tempo set.
It's a 6-point lead for Florida State, who's had a lot go their way already in this match, hitting .500 as a team midway through set 1. Off 1 foot, Corey Lewis. Nice work defensively by Koenig. Off the top of the block, there's a kill for number 2 in black, Olivia Frankie.
It says Olivia Frankie is 6'4", but looking at her right now, she might be a little taller. And if not, how high she contacts the ball makes her a lot taller as well. Tooling high off the hands of Corey Lewis, who has a really high reach, so that's a very difficult swing to get a kill off of.
Frankie, the senior from McLean, Virginia. I mentioned Crawford has led the team in terms of scoring output. It's been Frankie who has led them in terms of hitting efficiency. Kylene Filimawa on the attack, came into the middle for that rotation and put it down in a hurry.
And that's one of the reasons Florida State has had a lot of success. Coach Poole said they're working on making their offense two-dimensional. That means running more plays, spreading out the offense, running Corey Lewis behind, just being crafty and tricky with it.
Overpass, Henke puts it down.
And in that scenario, that is Henke's job. You man the net, you take care of the overpass, you hit it straight down if you get the opportunity, and she just took care of her job.
Quick and easy 1-for-1 for Yane Henke. That'll go down as a kill for number 18 in white. Maruska off speed over the block. Filimawa charged in and was snipped out by Dior Charles.
And you see Audrey Koenig, the setter on that play, say, my bad, because she knows that she gave Kylene Filimawa a trap set. The block was there, they were ready, they were pressed. There was nowhere for Filimawa to go.
So block for Charles. She's already got 2 here in this first half of this first set. Corey Lewis swiped at that ball, would have wanted a touch call, but air milled everybody's hands. That's an attack error on number 8.
Rare disconnect between Lewis and Robertson. That set too low. Corey Lewis with a nice high reach. She wasn't able to get on top and snap.
That sends Emma Farrell back to serve. Back set to Henke. Had to wait on that ball. Maruska rolls it down the line, and Wake Forest is stringing together some points here. They're back within 4.
Volleyball is a game of momentum. Now Wake Forest has a little bit of momentum. They're looking confident behind the service line. Their attackers are taking crafty rips. I like that shot from Sahara Maruska to get the kill.
The Deacs have claimed the last 3 points, the lead as small as it's been since FSU won the first 5 of the match. And that's a smart swing by Kylene Filimawa, tooling the block for the kill.
Kylene Filimawa has a very heavy arm and a powerful arm swing, so even if the block is up, she's able to swipe it off the arms because of all this power she brings to each one of her attacks.
Already 3 kills in this first set for Filimawa, who started swinging again against Duke a couple of weekends ago and promptly equaled her career high last weekend against Cal with 14 kills. Sharp angle on the attack for Wake Forest. They side out immediately with Sahara Maruska back on the board.
Sahara Maruska is 5'8", but coach said she plays 6'2" because she uses her vertical so well every single time she attacks the ball to contact it as high as she can.
Maruska, one of 4 grad transfers on the roster this season, and that's an ace serve for the Demon Deacons.
Florida State had control early, but now Wake Forest surging back, and you can tell they're in a rhythm now. They're making less errors, and they're being aggressive.
Ryan Baker has dropped in as many as 5 aces in a match this season. She has 1 in this first set, and that is a timely kill for Florida State. Yane Henke blowing up the block for another kill, number 18 and 1.
And the block was there, and they were pressed, but there's an extra step that you have to take. You have to turn your palms, face them into the court, press it back to 6, drop those pinkies, and they weren't able to do that.
Couple of kills for Henke in the first. And speaking of tooling the block, there's Sahara Maruska doing just the same.
Coach Randy Smart said, I want Sahara Maruska to be the raging bull versus FSU. And she's taking advantage, coming out to that left side, swinging aggressively.
I mentioned she's one of 4 grad transfers on the roster, transferred in from Rice, where she was a member of a couple of different Conference USA All-Tournament teams. Good looking swing there by Kelsey Perry. Got that ball dug over, and Audrey Koenig knew exactly what to do with it.
And Audrey Koenig had all the room in the world. Obviously the center in the back row can knock it up and get hands on that ball. There was no one up to stop her. If you give Audrey Koenig any kind of room on the net, she's just gonna have a nice strong snap and take care of it.
There's some serious heat on that attack by Kelsey Perry, a very decisive swing. Great defense. And it goes wanting. Would have took 4 contacts to get that ball over. Florida State was scrambling, nearly found a way. Wake was also ready to clean it up at the net if they needed to. Brikovic back to serve. And head will not catch hands. Point Wake Forest, and my. It is a 2-point first set.
You blink and Wake Forest has come back, but Florida State's first ball contact looking a little shaky right now, and they're not able to set up their offense.
Knowles hitting 318 as a team in this set. Wake Forest hitting 286, and the block is coming alive for the Deacs. Madison, you mentioned they're one of the top 5 blocking teams in the ACC. That is their 3rd of this first set.
And that's something that can power them to make up this lead or win this game. They're also top 5 in the ACC in opponent hitting percentage as well.
Yeah, team's only hitting 171 against the Deacs all season long. Bad time for a service error, though, if you are Wake Forest. The lead back up to 2 as these teams approach that vaunted red zone, the final 5 points of a set. We go to 25 in the first 4 sets, win by 2 to claim them. Best 3 out of 5 for the match. Ricks, what a swing. Koenig, same story.
Lauren Robertson with that really quick twitch dig, lining up perfectly behind the block. And then Audrey Koenig swinging high and over the block, taking advantage. Just see how high she contacts that ball.
5th kill in the first set for Koenig. Crawford will tool the block. It's a Florida State block that has taken another step forward this year. I think year in, year out, Madison blocking one of their calling cards has been as of the last couple of years. But Chris Poole said, as better as we have gotten at it, we still need to work on the discipline, and they're getting tooled a lot here over the last few points.
Exactly, and the way not to be tooled is to be disciplined. So that was well said by you. And then the aggressive serve causing the overpass. Florida State has got to take care of their first ball contact and get a clean pass.
These aggressive serves that pull teams out of system, that induce overpasses. I'm sure there's a stat for it somewhere, but you don't see it in some of those immediate ones. You see aces, and they're not aces, but they're effective enough. No call yet, and it does go to the Deeks.
That was a close one, and I wasn't sure if he was going to call it in or out, but just like that, Wake Forest is back in it. And it's because Florida State's side out right now is not as clean as it was at the beginning.
3-0 run for Wake Forest. Get this, Madison, they are hitting nearly 400 here in Tallahassee in set one. What a turnaround from how this set started.
Quite the jump to go from that many mistakes to hitting 400 is really impressive.
Head. What a swing from Taylor Head, but it's too long. Point Wake Forest. And I think Taylor Head's looking back at Chris Poole and saying, I thought that was in. Chris Poole will not challenge, but he will call timeout.
Smart move by Chris Poole. It is time to call the timeout. Center your team.
4-0 run for the Demon Deacons, who find themselves ahead by one after FSU won the first 5 points of this first set. A lot of toughness and tenacity on display out of the visitors from Winston-Salem. Can they close the set, though? That remains to be seen. It's Becca Bellows, the freshman setter, who will serve it in. Nice pass. And off a good pass, that's what you can get. Audrey Koenig with her 6th kill of set one.
And if you're Florida State, you're happy to stop the bleeding. Now you go back to the service line, and if you're Florida State, you want to have Audrey Koenig back at the service line. She's got a hybrid serve, so she tosses it like a float serve and contacts it like a jump topspin.
Another really nice pass, this time by Wake Forest. Crawford goes off speed over the block. Head off speed as well, sniffed out, Dupes there to cover. How about the defense by Emery Dupes? What a nice rally we got going on here. And what a smart swing by Crawford at the pin, number 13 with her 4th kill.
Really smart. Crawford there swinging all the way through the ball, really over-rotating on her shoulders. Corey Lewis with those palms not turned in, not facing 6 enough, and she was able to do the block.
So Crawford, I mentioned the 4 kills. That's on 7 swings. Hitting nearly 600 in this first set. 571 to be specific. Back row, Audrey Koenig, and that is yet another thing Florida State has been more intentional about, working into their offense, the back row attack.
And that's how you make your offense two-dimensional. You make the opposing block respect the back row attack. Audrey Koenig is just as efficient from the back as she is the front.
She is putting on a show in this first set already. 7 kills for AK. Back set, Henke cross court. Maruska with the shove down the line. Head did well to pick it up. Koenig caught the sideline for kill number 8.
And you see the joy on Koenig's face. That was a really fun play. It wasn't the big, it wasn't the right side. She attacked that ball from left back almost, rising up to it. And this is what's interesting about this offense. They don't have a libero in right now, so they've got 5 athletes who can score for them.
Maruska off hands. That's a kill for number 22 in black.
Maruska is fearless in her attack. She's smart as well. She's not ripping it into these seams. She's taking something off of it, swinging high and flat off of the high hands.
Sahara came into this match 1 kill away from hitting her 200th on the season. She's got a few of them. So she's hit that 200 mark on the year. Henke sniffed out by the block. Florida State recycles. Maruska off speed, picked up by Henke. This time it's head from the back row. And a free ball to Florida State. Great defense. Second effort for Corey Lewis, and it finds the floor.
You can only slow down Corey Lewis for so long. One of the things that makes Corey Lewis so good is how high she contacts the ball. She opens up a lot of angles for herself. And they are all the angles in the world. Nice dig, nice scrappy dig by Wake Forest, but then give her another chance and she's going to finish it with all those angles.
Set point Seminoles. Maruska off the block. And Kylene Filimawa puts an end to set one, 25-23. Madison, what a fun way to start.
Gotta appreciate the fight back from Wake Forest. They started slow, they surged in. You have to start quicker, and then maybe you have a chance to win.
FSU won set one, 25-23. We're back underway here in set two. Audrey Koenig, you mentioned those 8 kills in the first set. Madison, she gets the first swing here in set two for the Noles. Janne Henke off the right side, talking about reversing the flow, spreading the ball around. FSU this time going to their opposite from Germany, and she records the opening point of set two.
And Henke's coming off a really impressive showing against Stanford as well. 8 kills, so she's in a rhythm, and really solid set by Kylene Filimawa, who used to be a setter, and now she handles that second ball really well.
It was a tale of 2 matches for Janne Henke last week. She had 4 blocks against Cal, so really it was the defense against the Golden Bears for her. Then 2 days later, you mentioned the 8 kills against the top 5 Stanford Cardinals. There's Audrey Koenig doing just simply Audrey Koenig things. That's kill number 9. I mean, when you get excited about 8 kills in the first set, you almost run out of things to say when she just keeps putting ball to the floor.
And here's why she's as good as she is, because of all that range. None of her attacks look the same. She can hit every single area of the court, any arms, anywhere, on any block, through any defense. It's really impressive.
Service error by Florida State, and Wake Forest has their first point of this second set. Emery Dupes missing the confines of the court. Back set 2, Audrey Koenig, and while folks are familiar with her being on the left side for Florida State, that is something we've seen more of here this year, getting swings off the right, and wherever she's been, she has been able to score and score some more. That is her 20th straight match with 10 or more kills.
Wow, wow, wow. And some of it from the right side, which is really impressive because it's a different set than the outside, so she's very athletic to be able to do both.
Well, with 10 kills, 5 points into the second set, suffice it to say that Koenig is the leading scorer on the floor for either side, and that's a nice side out there by Wake Forest. Tina Grikovic with yet another kill, her 3rd on 4 swings. She'll head back to serve. FSU trying to get Corey Lewis going out of the middle, number 8. And somebody's got to play that ball off the touch.
And you would hope for it to be Emery Dupes, but she hesitated a little bit because it looked like Lauren Robertson maybe was going to touch it, but Lauren Robertson as the setter, realistically, if you're Emery Dupes, you need to get that ball.
This time Dupes pursues that jam shot off of the serve. And there's Corey Lewis. It's been a slower start for her offensively here in this match, and she hasn't always had the offensive numbers that maybe she enjoyed in non-conference, but that block has been something that has really come leaps and bounds this year. 98 now on the season for Lewis.
Really solid eye sequence by her on the block. She tracks that ball so well right into her hands and swallows it up with those quick hands over the net.
And that's the second ace of the match for Audrey Koenig.
Audrey Koenig has had a lot of success with this hybrid serve because teams are not used to it. She looks like she's going to pop a nice flat float serve, and then she gets some spin on it with a lot of pace.
You were saying.
And it dips and it dives right before it gets to your platform. So if you're Wake Forest, you register that and you have to take a step up on serve receive.
Folks, this is the reigning co-ACC Player of the Year. She did not have a 20-match streak with 10 or more kills and all of the aces that she's dropping, and she could serve last year for sure, but she is every bit as good as she was a year ago. And right as I say that, she gets a face full of volleyball.
And she wanted to dig that high hands, but sometimes there's a sweet zone. It's not above your head. It's not perfectly to your platform. It's kind of right in the middle, and sometimes it's difficult to pass, especially with how much power and pace Paige Crawford puts behind that swing.
So Crawford gets the Demon Deacons back within 2 here at Tully Gym. Brooke Bellows goes back to serve. It's a good serve. It induces an overpass, and Dior Charles puts it down, number 3 in black.
Both teams have done a solid job behind the service line, being aggressive, causing the overpass. We've seen a handful of overpasses so far in these first 2 sets.
And Madison, I want to go back to something we talked about early in set 1. Wake Forest really wanted to make a concerted attempt to get the middles going early. That is 6 kills now on 10 swings for Grikovic and as well for Dior Charles.
And not only does it open up your pins for attacking later on, also your middles are usually your most efficient attackers. So if you can get the pass, you might as well run through them because they efficiently can get you kills quicker.
At a system ball to Crawford, she goes off speed off the edge of the block. Henke tried to tool the block, and she will be credited with the tool. Randy Smart's going to grab the challenge card. The Deeks thought they got a roof.
And I think that was a smart decision from my vantage point. I think that I saw it was in, but we will see. I'm usually wrong, but the first challenge I was right, so we'll see.
I mean, I would have been confident off of being 1 for 1.
That's true.
He went straight to the I'm usually wrong.
I just have flashbacks of every time I've predicted something and it was wrong, so a little scarred.
We did have a challenge in the first set. In the first 5 points, really. Audrey Koenig was originally charged with an attack error on one of her earliest swings of the match, but did grab a piece of the Layla Ricks block. So after Chad Zimmerman went to the monitor, he overturned that. This is our second challenge. And was this a good block? It looks like it.
And then you see Taylor Head almost hit the floor because she was upset that she didn't dig it. So I think she also tracked it and saw that it was in as well.
So as I mentioned, FSU was successful in their challenge attempt. They retained their 2 that they started the match with. Wake Forest putting 1 of their 2 on the line here, but based on that angle, I would suspect Madison, they're going to get their challenge back, and they're going to get the 2-point swing associated with this point being overturned.
I would agree, and it was a good set by Audrey Koenig, an out-of-system set, but not much area for Henke to go.
After review, the ball was in. The call was reversed. Point, Florida State, or excuse me, Wake Forest. They retain their challenge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Zimmerman. And see, Madison, this is why you need to just go ahead and be confident about what you think you see. You are now 2 for 2.
Okay, yeah, no, moving forward, I'm going to predict it accurately and be confident in every single time.
There you go. We'll take one more look.
Very, very in. And if you're Wake Forest, you're happy about that because you don't want Florida State to get too far ahead.
I mentioned the 2-point swing. If that original call was upheld, the Noles would have a 3-point lead. A point away from the Noles, a point given to Wake Forest, all in the same swoop, and it goes from 3 to 1. Henke, great defensive effort there by Crawford in the back row. Lewis sat of the middle.
I would almost want to see Wake Forest put another block up on Lewis. Have Olivia Frankie come in and kind of help out because when Lewis is in a one-on-one situation, she's really good at seeing the opposing middle block, identifying those hands, and then swinging away.
Now, how much of that is due to Florida State getting creative and spreading the ball around, and how much of that also is just due to being out of system?
It's definitely because they've spread the ball around well, and the opposing block wants to man their person at the pin and respect everyone, and that's why it's good to have such a balanced offense. And right now, Florida State doesn't have a libero in, so every single one of their attackers, except for the setter, can swing.
Have fun with that.
Yeah.
Farrell drops it in short. Filimawa handles it. Henke looking for a kill. Rocketed that one through the seam. No touch. Point Wake.
Sometimes seems like Henke slows down her arm swing, and if you want to get on top of it and hit it in, you kind of have to speed up your arm swing and snap on it a little bit quicker.
Yeah, Henke, who went to Cal State Los Angeles, the same school that Randy Smart had previously been the head coach at before going to Winston-Salem to take the helm of the Demon Deacons program. Won a national championship at the D2 level, did Henke, and we'll see how she continues to acclimate here. Nice swing, though, meanwhile, for FSU.
And that's something Coach Randy Smart said that her team needs to capitalize on. That was a solid block touch, but the defense on their heels, not able to recycle it.
It's the 5th kill of the match for Kylene Filimawa, who goes back to serve. And it's a service error for the sophomore. 4th error to go along with 3 aces in this match so far for Florida State. Wake, by the way, 4 errors to 1 ace so far for the Demon Deacons. Ryan Baker in to serve. And Audrey Koenig drops the hammer.
Audrey Koenig, with all of that range, can pinpoint where the block is, where the defense is, and then just weave it in between the defense. And it's about the angle of her approach. She comes in really angled and then is able to hit those sharp cross court with that dropping the thumb and snapping.
Nice swing for Grikovic. Caught a piece of the block for yet another kill for number 14.
When Grikovic gets a set that's high enough, she's really good at getting on top of it quickly and with a nice high snap. Florida State's middle block is tall, and that's a difficult thing to get past.
I mean, what else is there to say?
It's really difficult to defend her because realistically she's hitting over the opposing block. So if you're not getting up and you're not touching that, so you're there just nice high over the hands. And if you're not getting up and touching that, your defense has to be in the perfect spot to dig that ball.
Audrey Koenig's hit percentage over the last 3 matches is nearly 400. She's hitting .647 with 12 kills so far in this match. And just to contextualize this for you at home, the next highest score on the floor for either side has 6. So she's doubled up everybody, hitting nearly 700. Good defense there by Robertson. And there's Taylor Head out of system off the edge of the block and down.
Swinging on an out-of-system set is something that Taylor Head is really good at because she has patience. She's patient on her approach, and then she swings nice and high and is able to tool the block.
A couple of kills to go along with a couple of attack errors so far for Head. Good reflexes there by Grikovic. That could have been a triple ace. Head turned back. Great defense by Filimawa. And there's Corey Lewis.
Lauren Robertson is doing a really good job at spreading out the offense. She went to Taylor Head. Taylor Head got dug, so then she goes to Lewis, and Lewis takes care of the ball. Solid net defense. I said the game is going to be won at the net, and that's Wake Forest's block coming through.
One-handed set to the backside, and Layla Ricks caught hands for the kill.
That's one of my favorite sets. As a setter, you go up, you're saving a play, and then you perfectly place it into your right side attacker's hand. That's really difficult to do, and Ryan Baker has a lot of athleticism, so she's able to pull it off.
Ricks, the transfer from the University of Maryland, one of a couple of Big Ten transfers on this Wake Forest roster. Back row, Filimawa. Ricks, heavy cross, no call yet. It's wide, no touch. Point Knowles.
And you can see all of Layla Ricks' power, but when she drops her elbow, it's going to cause her to swing out. And I think there, maybe she didn't have her elbow high enough or up quickly enough to get on top of it and snap.
I mentioned Chad Zimmerman being the R2 who's gone to the monitor twice. That was Kim Wisham, who was our up referee as well, looking on as Audrey Koenig goes back to serve. Already 3 aces for AK, and that is an important swing considering that for Wake Forest. That got Koenig off the service line, and it also ran the middle to perfection once again with Dior Charles.
Well said. Nice quick side out by Wake Forest, who is performing well with their game plan, which is run through the middles even when the setter is off the net. Right there, the setter was about 8 feet off the net, still ran through the middle efficiently. 14-12
lead as we approach the midway point here of set 2. Koenig induces that overpass, and there to put it down is Kylene Filimaua. Kill number 6 for Kylene and the Noles, who won 17. Wake Forest hitting 314 as a team. The Noles winning set 1 25-23 and leading set 2 now by 2.
Okay, Wake Forest with the quick side out. I like it. Paige Crawford can handle the load that an L1 has to handle, and she's taking these big aggressive ribs from off the net and scoring points when her team needs her.
Wake Forest has seriously played some impressive volleyball here this evening. Down a set and a couple of points, and they haven't done a ton wrong. Backside, Corey Lewis turned back by Dior Charles.
Dior Charles has a really solid press, and it's difficult to get a ball past the block when your press is up and at the right time. Dior Charles really technically sound with that last little bit of press.
That sends Crawford back to serve once more. The lead down to 1. Nice response off of that midway media break by Wake Forest. They've won the first 2. Maruska down the line, won't catch hands. That's out. Point Noles.
And that's what happens when there's a big block in front of you and they're set and they're ready. You have to feel like you have to tip really high over them, or you have to overextend yourself to get the point. Maruska, feeling that block, felt like she needed to go deep with it and more down the line than she should have.
I mentioned Maruska hitting the 200 kills mark earlier in this match. She's the second leading scorer for the team. And there is Olivia Franke off the right side, has not played a ton this year, but has made her presence count early in this match. That is now her 3rd kill on 4 swings.
And that's all you can really ask out of her. Hasn't played that much, and when she does get set, she's being very efficient. So she's doing what she's supposed to do out there on the right.
Oh, what a smart shot there by Kenna Phelan. The campfire was wide open, so you might as well put the volleyball there if you're number 7 and white.
Kenna Phelan is so impressive. She's only a sophomore, but she plays with a lot of confidence and a lot of court awareness. She could feel that campfire nice and open. She makes it look easy.
I mean, that was so crafty, the crowd didn't even cheer. It was on the floor before they realized what happened.
It was really sly, and that's one of the things as a setter you have to be good at deception. And she deceived the opposing defense and pretty much everyone here pretty well.
Again, tip the cap to Wake Forest. What do? Immediately side out with yet another kill out of the middle. Another swing, and a good one at that for Tina Grikovic. And a trickle ace to tie it at 17.
And just like that, they're back in it. It comes from the aggression and not taking their foot off the gas pedal. They are playing fearless against this top-ranked Florida State team.
All right then, so.
Back when you're playing a team like Florida State, but Wake Forest is playing very calm and poised, and they're out hitting Florida State right now, which is really impressive because Florida State's middles and pins are pretty physical blockers.
17 all, set 2. Best 3 sets out of 5 to claim the match. We go to 25 in sets 1 through 4, win by 2. So this would be a massive set for Wake Forest to win to equalize things at the intermission. If you're just joining us, Sean Davison alongside the beach volleyball All-American here at Florida State, Madison Fitzpatrick. Amanda Golson is the 3rd member of our crew. Everybody on our crew here at Philly Gym as we take in Wake Forest, who's looking for their first-ranked ACC win since 2011 against the Seminoles, who are ranked 24th in search of their 17th straight victory over the Demon Deacons. Two aces for Ryan Baker. And another stuff block, this time Tina Grikovic.
Grikovic moves really quick side to side. She's very athletic and dynamic, and she can get there to close the block, and that's something you have to do against Jane Henke.
7th in the ACC in blocks per set. Once again, Baker targeting Audrey Koenig. Now it's Koenig in transition on offense, going off speed over the block. What a pickup by Head. At a system ball for Koenig, turn back. Positive block touch there for Kelsey Perry. And a marathon rally ends with another Koenig kill.
The drama. I love the defense on both sides. Taylor Head is really good at reading, and it's because she's so experienced in that middle back. She can see when the opposing hitter is going to tip. So good read by her to extend the rally and then leave it to Audrey Koenig to finish it.
18 all, set 2. Maruska, what an angle off speed. Head does just enough. And a free ball opportunity for the Noles. How about another block by Wake Forest? They had 3 in the first, and that is now 3 in the second. Off the right side, Layla Ricks, number 4 in black, with another block.
Layla Ricks is invasive. She's in the opposing offense's space. She's taking up so much room on the opposing side of the net, and she's a wall up there.
Great defense. Emma Farrell. Koenig off speed inside the block and down.
The defense from Emma Farrell, keeping the ball alive, really impressive. And then the net defense for Wake Forest has been really incredible, forcing Audrey Koenig to take a little bit off of it, tip it to the open spot. Just like that, we're all tied up.
Kill number 14 for Audrey Koenig. As Lauren Robertson goes back to serve, FSU's grad transfer from the University of Memphis, who has been on a hot streak here of late serving. Smart swing by Crawford.
Paige Crawford, as an outside, gets the good, the bad, the ugly, the in-system, and the out-of-system, and she's able to cultivate points off of all of those sets. It's really impressive and a difficult position to be in.
8 kills for Crawford, who came into this match averaging 2 3/4 a set. Audrey Koenig, have yourself a night. We are toward the latter, well, we're in the red zone here in set 2. She's already got 15 kills.
And now she's in the back row, and I would even pay attention to her in the back row as an offensive threat as well.
And oh, by the way, she's dropped in 3 aces. Once again, that's another important swing. It wasn't huge in terms of strength, but it was huge in significance. Dior Charles with the immediate side out, and yet another kill out of the middle for Wake Forest.
Wake Forest is unfazed, and their setters are making solid decisions. We like going through the middle on a good pass. Wake Forest has been executing their game plan quite well.
10 kills out of their middle blockers on 14 swings.
Wow.
Speaking of middle blockers, Corey Lewis on the attack. That misses the sideline. It's an attack error and a quick timeout by Chris Poole, trailing by 2 in the second. Confidence here in ACC play, and we know we can hang with these teams. We had our chances against Georgia Tech. What an opportunity on the road against a top 25 team to maybe level things at the intermission. A service error doesn't help the cause, though. The lead's back down to 1.
And if you're Taylor Head back at the service line, pressure is on you this late into the red zone in the second set. You cannot afford an error here.
Nice pass by Crawford. And what a block. Corey Lewis and Yane Henke teaming up for the tandem, and that is a massive time for FSU's first block of the set.
That was all Henke, diving her arms into that open seam and taking away any kind of gap in the block that Paige Crawford thought that she had. That was really smart by her to see that gap and then dive her arms into it.
And so just like that, we are knotted up at 22 off of a service error and a Florida State block. Crowd has gotten their money's worth here at Lucy McDaniel Court. The first set was a 25-23 opening frame win for Florida State. We're knotted up at 22 here in set 2 as well. Wake Forest has been able to establish the middle attack the way they wanted to. Florida State's been able to spread the ball around, left side, right side, back row. Maybe haven't got the middles going the way they want to, but it's really been helpful for each of these teams that as much good things as they've done, their outsides have also been tremendous.
They absolutely have. They are the true leaders of this team. They get all the kinds of sets, and they're able to produce at a high level. Florida State needs an aggressive serve here, but if you're Wake Forest, you're thinking about one thing, and that's to side out quickly. Do not give Florida State a chance to score.
Head serves once more. Charles turned back. Crawford will want hands, won't catch them, and the Noles are within a couple points of the second set.
I don't hate the decision by Paige Crawford to go deep down the line with the tip. A lot of the times you can grab some fingertips, but that was just a rare error for her.
Nice pass. Off 1 foot, Charles will want a touch. No call, and FSU has set point.
Dior Charles is new to running that slide attack, and we will get a timeout. I thought it was going to be a challenge. We will get a timeout from Wake Forest. That's a smart idea. Florida State only needs one more. But back to what I was saying, Dior Charles is new to that slide attack because they just started running the 5-1. So they've been integrating it into their offense more, and that's a kind of attack that takes a little while to get used to.
You know, I think it was funny. Randy Smart, who you see pictured on her screen, she sort of told us yesterday while laughing, she said, when we made the move to go to the 5-1 and try to implement 5-1 principles, I approached Dior Charles and said, hey, we're going to try this. We're going to try to get you off 1 foot. We're going to try to get you hitting the set. She said that Dior looked at her with an exasperated look and kind of jokingly said, no. And she said, trust me, in about 3 days, you're going to love it. And sure enough, 3 days later, Dior came back to her head coach and said, you're right, I do.
It's a really fun set to attack, but it's difficult. A lot of things have to go right. You're jumping off of 1 foot. You're moving constantly. That set has to be all the way out to your right shoulder, and you have to cut it off quickly so it doesn't go too far outside of your body. So it's a difficult set to attack, and I can understand the reluctance at the beginning.
Florida State's already back out on the court. Madison, what do you make of the late timeout in set 1 by Chris Poole? The Noles turn the tide. Timeout again here in set 2. Florida State knots it up at 22, then wins the next 2 points off of Wake Forest timeout. They might have a chance to flip the script in sets 1 and 2 both. They're on a 4-0 run.
Yeah, and what I make of that is Chris Poole knows what to say to this team, and this team is really good at adjusting and reacting when they're down or when they're in a rut.
2 set point opportunities for the Noles. And a bad pass. Crawford makes the most of it. And that is a strong job at the net by Dior Charles. Another block for number 3 in black.
A strong block at the net and a smile the whole time. That smile lit up the entire gym. Really solid block. Like I said before, it's the press that makes her so good.
5th block of the match for Charles, who leads Wake Forest in blocking, or has 9 times this year. She does so far again. Another set point opportunity for the Noles. And Corey Lewis, as quiet as she has been for the majority of this match, comes away with a timely kill, and the Noles win set 2, 25-23 as well.
Wake Forest.
So we'll see if the Deacs can ride the strength of their block, or the Noles can ride the wave of momentum they carried at the end of set 2. We're back underway out of the intermission. Both sides jammed up on first ball contact. Great defense there by Farrell. And a transition kill for Wake Forest.
Emma Farrell has been absolutely superb. She's top 5 in the ACC in total digs coming into this match with 355 because she puts herself in the right positions to score. And then you're nothing if you don't have someone to finish it off, and Sahara Maruska did just that.
Maruska herself back to serve, now picks that ball up on defense. Ricks rolling it through the seam. And Kelsey Perry, no call yet. It's wide, point Deacs.
Kelsey Perry is one of those players that Coach Chris Poole really wants more production out of. She's only been set a handful of times. That's her 2nd set. 0 kills, hitting in the negative.
Plenty of production out of Audrey Koenig, though. Within the first 3 points of the third set, she's back in the scorer's column.
Nowhere home. She's swinging high over the block, and then she also can identify where the defenders are and then swing it in between the opposing passers.
So off the FSU side out, Emery Dupes checks in to serve. And it's an ace serve for Emery. She can really get it going at the service line. And frankly, what Chris Poole's been telling us, Madison, part of their ability to open up the offense is that she's getting back to speed on defense as well.
Most definitely. And behind the service line, that serve is really flat. And when you have a serve that's that flat, it's difficult to get your platform underneath it in time to pass.
Better pass there. Great work by Kenna Phelan. Good up to get it back in play. Wake recycles off the block. Crawford's second effort. Not a whole lot of room for Koenig to operate there. Crawford trying to swipe it off the outside arm of Audrey Koenig. Missed it though. Point Knowles.
Florida State on a little bit of a run right now. Kenna Phelan so athletic, so fast. Look at her right here, laying out. Nice change of direction by her as well. You have to be really athletic to be on the balls with your feet like that and change direction.
Well, I can tell you the direction that ball took, straight down. Three-point lead for Florida State on a tremendous serving rotation by Emery Dupes. She's dropped in 2 aces since she's gone back to serve. The Knowles are on a 5-0 run. Better pass there. Good work there by Farrell. Florida State ready and picks it up. I mean, I don't know, you know, if you're in that back row for Wake Forest, Maruska and Farrell, you passed a few pretty darn good balls and you were active defensively. Not much more you can do.
Exactly, you did everything you could. Ryan Baker, the setter, giving 3 balls to the outside. I would like to see her mix it up.
This time she goes to the middle and Grikovic was turned back by Kelsey Perry. Madison, you mentioned that it's been a slower start for her offensively, still trying to get in the groove. That's a nice big block though.
And she's definitely a defensive-minded middle. Kelsey Perry is really solid on the block. She was last year at Iowa State as well. She's really disciplined, has a nice high press, and she's got really long arms, so of course that helps.
Perry taking the place of Kiari Roby, who last year transferred in from Oregon, now is at Arizona. And what a swing by Crawford.
Tempo set to Crawford, who did a good job at keeping the ball in front of her, beating the block. You see her there swinging over the arms of Kelsey Perry, who says, my bad, my bad. She knows she was a little late to get up and press.
Perry picked up. Head. Off hands, that's a kill for number 1 in white.
And good defense on both sides. We're seeing long rallies. Emery Dupes, Kenna Phelan, Taylor Head for Florida State having nice defensive plays back there. And Wake Forest doing a good job as well. But if you're Wake Forest, you have to stop the bleeding right now. You have to side out, and then you have to start to inch away at this lead and not let Florida State get too close to 20.
Nice pass. Crawford goes off speed. And another strong block by Dior Charles.
Dior Charles is really quick side to side, so she got there, and then Layla Ricks is invasive. Look at the press over the net, shoving those palms down, pointing the palms down, and shoving the ball straight down.
The Deacs really needed that. Florida State had previously won 7 of the last 8 points. And there's Audrey Koenig.
Really solid swing by Audrey Koenig, but Wake Forest slowed down that attack. They got a good block touch, but then the defense not in the right place to play that up. Both of the defenders kind of fell. You need to stay on your feet and dig that ball up.
At a system ball, Crawford off speed. Frankie digs it out of the net. Good cover there by Farrell. Front row, back row, left side, right side. There's just no stopping Audrey Koenig tonight.
Off of the hand, sharp into the seams, around the block, tooling the block. I mean, she can do it all.
From the service line, nearly a fourth ace. Off speed, Corey Lewis. That's kill number 6 for Corey.
Corey Lewis shows all of her experience right there with that tip. She could feel the set was a little low. She could feel the block on her, more importantly. And then she could see the open areas of the court. And a lot of the times right behind the block in that right.
And on the block, whether it's been ending rallies or slowing balls down. But I think what Randy Smart told us leading into this match is we do a lot of things right, but when it comes to that last part of the play, whether it's footwork, whether it's getting the swing we want, we haven't quite been able to figure that piece out, and that's loomed large, particularly here in set 3.
Exactly. You can have the first 2 steps of your approach be really good, but if you can't finish it physically, then it's not working.
Boy, that was a heck of an effort by the Demon Deacons trying to keep that ball in play and just get something across. But it's out, and it's another ace for Audrey Koenig. That is 4 aces to go along with 4 digs, 2 blocks, 19 kills.
Is she even sweating? I mean, she just looks like it's so easy for her.
It's just another day at the office. Crawford off speed. Lewis digs it out of the net. Filimawa over the double block. And there's Corey turning that ball back to the floor. I'll tell you what, Kim Wisham said that ball was pancaked and nobody from Wake played that ball. They got into the huddle thinking it was down for the point.
Mindset, mindset, mindset. That's a mindset thing. Play till the whistle blows. You don't give up. That could have been their point.
Florida State has won the last 6 points, and Audrey Koenig has ace number 5.
Not only is there a lot of pace behind the serve of Audrey Koenig, there's also perfect placement, targeting that one seam, that one zone that Coach Chris Poole told us about.
The 5 aces, I'm going to have to double check, but I believe that is a career high for Koenig. And Corey Lewis has killed number 7 in this match. And with that, she has 1,000 career kills in FSU history. That is the 7th player ever and the 2nd middle blocker ever, the first being another Tallahassee native, Brianna Barrett.
That's an impressive club to be a part of, and Corey Lewis is deserving. She works really hard. She's gotten better year to year, and that's an impressive stat line.
And I'll tell you what, Audrey Koenig's stat line at the service line continues to swell. That is ace number 6.
And she's having fun back there. She ran back to the service line. She's excited to have another rib at it.
I'd run back there too. How about ace number 7?
I almost feel bad for Wake Forest's serve receive, because really there's just a couple adjustments that have to be made, and then they can get these passes. When a ball is coming that quickly at you, your first step has to be really quick to the ball. And you have to have your platform angled into the court. It's just little things like that, little adjustments.
Well, before Corey Lewis hit 1,000, I was in the process of saying kill-wise in a 3-set match, Audrey Koenig has a new career high. Her most kills in a 3-set match is 16. She's at 19, and she's casually dropped 8 aces. And off of hitting the record books with your 1,000th kill, Corey Lewis comes up with the big stuff block. The Noles have won the last 11 points, and Madison, I don't think I've ever seen a team go on that kind of run in all the volleyball I've watched.
Me too. This is the longest run I've ever seen.
Crawford off hands, turn back. 1D hits the deck. And Koenig launches from the back row. Folks, she's rusty. She was back there at the service line for about 5 minutes. Hadn't really needed to take a swing, and look at this. Nice round of applause. Some folks up, What a run by AK.
That gives me goosebumps. Very rarely do you see the entire arena start to cheer after a service run, but I think that was very well deserving from AK.
I mean, it's 19-5, Mads. 19-5. And she passes a dime. And Taylor Head is the beneficiary.
Taylor Head loves that tempo set. When you can get a quick set and it's to her shoulder and she's on top of it, she brings so much power to every single one of her swings.
Maruska. And Filimawa on the attack, opposite sides. And Filimawa hit it into the tape. And I have to imagine, Madison, if you're Wake Forest, it's all about stacking the pennies, the little things at this point. What can you do, and what kind of positive momentum can you build?
Exactly, and you can't afford to make silly errors, so you can't be in the net, you don't want to miss any serves, you have to gain as much momentum as possible, and it starts with your side of the net.
Row will echo that sentiment. It has truly been a joy to watch number 8 in white play volleyball and to get to know her as a person.
And it's so impressive that her ceiling is it's still higher. She can go play maybe for any of the pro leagues in the United States, out of the United States. The future is bright for her after this.
And there she is on the slide, wasting no time, getting to 1,001.
Coach told us that Corey Lewis is confident on the slide and in front of the setter, which is rare. Usually you'll have a middle blocker who likes to go in front or more so likes to go behind, but Corey Lewis is just as confident in both.
And speaking of the setter, that was Ashley Reynolds, FSU's third setter, who gets a chance to check in and set a beautiful ball for Corey Lewis to get in the kill column again. I'll tell you what, that's a nice swing from Crawford. She caught hands, might have caught the sideline as well. Hard to tell from this angle, but at the very least caught hands for the kill.
And it was good connection from Ryan Baker, who does a really good job of getting her feet to the set and then squaring her hips where she's going to set it.
Baker misses the sideline. And Florida State is within 3 points of the match. And just to underline, it's unfortunate to see this set come to this for Wake Forest. They have battled so valiantly to this point in the match. FSU's going deeper in the bench, getting some players some quality playing time. But these Deeks have fought hard today, and this set just got away from them. That might be the only thing that's gone wrong for Audrey Koenig today. Ella Gaona's serve hit the top of the tape and then hit her in the top of the head.
And to your point on Wake Forest, there is so much to be proud of. They have fought so hard in those first two sets. Florida State just really dominant in this third set from every single aspect of their game.
That is another block by the Demon Deacons. They have 9 in this match. That's an average of 3 per set. That exceeds their average coming into this match today, and they were already top 5 in the ACC, top 30 in the country. Back row roll for Taylor Head. Crawford turns up the heat. Koenig is looking for kill number 20 in a 3-setter. Out of system ball for Maddie Snyder, and Maddie Snyder is on the scoreboard.
A little bit of love for everybody on this Florida State team. Going into their bench, Maddie Snyder coming in, making an impact. She's a lefty, and that was a nice high set. She was able to get on top of it and tool the block. And it's more difficult to block a lefty because you're not as used to it. It's not as custom.
Snyder, who has started a bunch of matches in a couple of years at Florida State, but it's been a little more up and down of late. Kylene Filimawa has checked into the rotation, so we haven't seen as much of Snyder of late, but that was good to see. Traffic collision by the Seminoles. We play on. But only for the moment, and Wake Forest sides out.
Wake Forest says we're not done yet. Not yet. Nice solid swing. And you have to appreciate Florida State going all out. They're not playing like they've got a 13-point lead. No, they're playing for every single point.
Tina Drikovic will go back to serve. Head Speed by Ricks. Taylor Head once again on the attack. It's blocked. And Wake Forest continues to feast at the net. That is block number 10. Perhaps it's possible. We saw a huge run by the Noles. Kelsey Perry dug up, and Audrey Koenig has kill number 20.
20 kills in a 3-set match. Hitting, I think once the stat line updates, I think around 500, which the efficiency, the aggression, it's also impressive by her.
You called it 5-14.
Wow.
8 aces, and she delivers match point. Dior Charles has been a bright spot today, but this third set was a bright spot for the Noles as a whole. They sweep the Deacs and run away with the third.